What's up, everybody? It's a brand new week. I believe we're still suffering from a little bit of Oscars hangover, but it's time for a brand new episode of Movie Time. You got myself, Renee, LOWKEY, GEEK here, and Blake, the Wolf. What's going on, dude?
Renee, we're back to being on video. We're doing this. You were
Yeah,
on my couch just a few days ago watching the Oscars.
that's
I
right.
went immersed into movie world, watching as many as I could. Then you and I did a 4-hour live reaction, and now we're back to talking about new movies, which
That's
so
it.
exciting.
Yeah, for sure. And before we start, of course, we have a very special message for all of you. All you mothers out there, you're all superheroes, and
hmm
never give up on any of your dreams because it
hmm
will eventually pay off in the end. That is some of the main lessons that we learned from this past Oscars. But so glad to have you join us once again. We are going to be talking about a little bit wrap up on the whole Oscars situation, and we'll talk about some highs and lows, things like that, things that may have hit the news shortly after the ceremony aired. So Blake and I will just talk about some of that stuff. And big movie opening up this weekend, and that's Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
Shazam!
Shazam! It'll be funny if like all of us changed right now, and then we just
I was about to say,
became
I just double
something
checked,
else.
made sure nobody appeared, or okay, I'm still okay. It's
Awesome.
you and me.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk briefly about that as well, give our thoughts and review on the whole thing. We'll talk about that interesting cameo in the movie and some of those post-credit scenes and all that stuff. So thank you for joining us. If you've never seen us before ever, well, hello there. How are you? How you doing? Thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. We are the Movie Time podcast. We are a movie review podcast where every week we get together and we talk about movies. Usually we talk about the latest release of the week and give our thoughts and opinions about all that. So, if you like what you see and you want to see more of us, because you're like, who are these two strapping young fellas here? I want to see more of them every week. All you got to do, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you get notified every time a brand new episode is uploaded. And if you love the sound of our voices and you want to hear more of that, then just go to the LOWKEY GEEK podcast channel on your podcast platform of choice, where you could find this episode and many others for your downloading and listening pleasure. So, and for our audio listeners who are already out there, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we appreciate all your support. Now, with that all out of the way, we usually like to start off the episode talking about stuff that maybe one of us have caught up on this past week, movie wise. I'll be honest with you, I have not had a chance to watch anything. Really, I felt kind of spent after the Oscars and all that. So, kind of wanted to
It's
take a
real.
quick break before Shazam came out and all that. But yeah, didn't watch a damn thing. What about you?
So, I was in a similar boat, but you know how I
Uh,
cured that? Watching even more movies.
hey, there you go.
As you do, because and especially at the end, right before the Oscars, I try to watch all the ones I hadn't seen yet, and that means
Right.
all the things that are either too depressing or too dumb
Yep.
earlier in the year. So it was a rough weekend just cramming all this content that I had procrastinated for a reason. Then you and I did our 4-hour telecast,
Hmm.
live react, and then that next day I went to go see Everything Everywhere All at Once in the theater for the fifth time in
Oh,
theater.
nice. Nice.
I also re-listened to our episode from March of last year to see how it held up, and I don't know if you want to insert any audio here where I was saying that maybe it would be able to win some awards, and you said absolutely not. Feel free to throw that in here. We can. I'll let you edit that however you see fit. I'm going to keep moving on real quick though before you respond, because I already beat you on the ballot. You know what? How many licks can one man take? And then because I am unflappable, uh, I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once in theaters. Took my googly eyes with me. A really sweet young couple. It seemed like they hadn't seen it before. The theater was pretty full, like two showings in a row,
Oh,
late 9 p.m., 10 p.m. It was really cool to go back when people were excited about the movie. Couple next to me seemed like they hadn't seen it before. We're crying at the same moment at the end. Yes, it still got me on the fifth time. And so like before leaving the theater, I did my little random act of kindness, just handed them a couple of the googly eyes. It was like, these are for you if you want them. And they were like, oh my God, thank you. It was really sweet. I had a little moment with a stranger. And
Nice.
then uh, yesterday and the day before, I watched Lawrence of Arabia, which we're not going to do a full
Wow.
review. That's an almost 4-hour movie from 1962,
Holy
an
cow.
epic of the old Hollywood type, where it's just a dude walking through the desert a lot, at giant set pieces, huge crowds of people. It was just totally different, and it was honestly, it was kind of nice after watching all this current stuff to like get a little
Mhm.
more of the like the Babylon type of Hollywood retrospective moment. And I'm not going to do a review of it. The movie's got some issues, but overall, I was like, oh, I get why this is. I was just going through like the old, long, super high rated stuff and just tried to find one and threw it on. Fell asleep, put it on again the next day, took a nap, put it on again, finished it finally. Three sits. So yeah. What a
I
time.
I I will ask you, I know I respect the fact that you won't give a review on it because I mean that's a lot of movie. But do you feel like it holds up in the respect of this is one of the classics of all time? Do you think it still holds up? Like if I believe this is on the AFI's top 100
Oh,
list, right?
oh.
So
I was what I did is because I wanted to be able to multi-screen if I needed to. So I go to my Letterboxd. I have a huge watch list, but then I went to they
mhm,
have their top 250 narratives movies all time,
yeah.
and they also have a documentary list. I go through that. I do which ones are on the streaming services I have, rated by highest. I haven't seen it
Mhm,
before, English language, and then just was like, which of these do I want to see? And it's super high rated. Like it's an all-time
yeah.
classic. I just one I'd put off because of the runtime, which I'm sure I'm not the only
Sure.
person in modern streaming era who's like, how long? Um, does it hold up? No. Alec Guinness, our beloved Obi-Wan Kenobi, is wearing brown face in the movie.
Oh, that's
And
right. I forgot about that.
there's a few other things. There's a white savior complex problem at the heart of it. It does kind of comment on that. I read a whole lot of people talking about it afterward. It
Uh-huh.
does put Lawrence of Arabia through hell, and it's not just this dude did great by helping change these people's culture. Like it's a little deeper than that. Otherwise, it would definitely not hold up as well if it was just saccharine,
Mhm.
corny. The the camera, the cinematography, the directing, the right, like it's pretty good.
It's a
There's a
technical
lot of old
achievement,
classics
especially
that
for that
could.
time.
Oh, that's the whole thing. The
Yeah.
spectacle, the epic spectacle of it all. And there's plenty of movies from old era that are just like Sound of Music, Wizard of Oz. We got it's
Mhm.
and it. I can see it being on that list.
Yeah.
Now you got to have about 4 hours, and same with like Cleopatra, and there's a few of those other older ones that just it. I can't imagine many young folks, ADHD, internet age folks like me, being able to sit through that.
Yeah.
But to put it on before going to sleep was pretty nice. Like it was pleasant in that for that. So did that like a good sick day movie. Just keep you're in and out. It's fine.
Yeah.
Keep pushing through. So yeah, overall, if that's what you're looking for, it's
No,
not a bad bet. At least then you can say, oh, I get it. I get why this is such a big deal. You
right.
get to see the influence it had on modern movies, etc. The
Yeah.
Alec Guinness wandering the desert in Star Wars made a lot more sense after seeing Alec Guinness wandering the desert in Lawrence of Arabia, which like George Lucas talks about as a direct, you know, um, influence on Star Wars. So there's certain like those big action epics they make more
Mhm.
sense now.
I will find it, really funny if you ever sat down with George Lucas and you asked him the question that, did you purposely cast Alec Guinness in that role because he already walked through the desert and I kind of just want him to do it again in my
I
movie?
just like watching that guy walk through the
Uh
desert. Star Wars is really just an excuse so I could be there in person while he's walking through the desert.
right.
And the next thing I know, I had
Hey,
a franchise in
yeah.
my hand.
But then it is, yeah. But then it is really funny when you hear about how Alec had a lot of issues with Star Wars and he didn't want to do it in the beginning and all that stuff like that. But that's a podcast for another day and for another total reason. But No, congratulations. You accomplished something I haven't been able to do yet. Like that's been one movie that I've been dying to watch from beginning to end. I've only seen clips and snippets here and there. I remember my brother had I believe it was like a 3 VHS set of the movie
Whew,
because this was
wow.
like one of his favorites when he saw it a long time ago growing up. And he bought it, and I was like, "There's no way I'm going to sit down and watch 3 VHS tapes for one movie." But yeah, but I do want to eventually one day because that is a classic, and it's part of Hollywood's like Hollywood history. So I definitely do want to watch it for sure. But yeah, you're right. These days, the younger generation, they're not going to be able to stomach anything that long. And sit down. They'll binge freaking trashy TV for like 4 to 5 hours at a time. But to watch a singular movie from like the 60s or whatever, they're not going to want to do that, at all.
Bite-sized pieces, fam. Just break it
Yeah.
off like it's a mini series.
Hmm.
That's all. Like that
Yeah.
makes it, and then you get to watch some real high quality stuff next time you're going. Oh, what TV show should I watch? Treat it like it's a broken into 6 parts.
Right.
Go about your day. There's whole chunks with just literally. There's an intermission with and the intro and the intermission both have about 3 minutes of black screen and music playing. I'm not kidding.
I believe
Orchestra.
it.
So that's
No, I
you're
believe it.
multitasking. This is a
Yeah.
great movie to do that too, for sure. Just go, oh yeah, still nothing's happening. Like literally, there's nothing on the screen,
Hmm.
just the score. That I'm not sure I've seen that before. You see it where it's like credits and
Yeah.
long, but this was just nothing happening at all.
No,
Nothing
it's
visually, just dead air and some music.
it's great, and it's funny because you think about it. Back in the day, they used to have those intermissions in long movies in the theaters. So
Because it was only in the
basically,
theater. It was just in a theater. You had to give people a chance to go to the bathroom without,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
and maybe even the projector or the actual like reels themselves required it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of all that, but I think it was mainly because they wanted to treat it like a show, like a Broadway show,
Hmm,
So they wanted to
that makes
give
sense.
people a chance to take a break, use a bathroom, get some food or whatever the case is. And I need to recall, but I think if I'm not mistaken, Titanic had an intermission in the middle of it. I could be completely wrong, but the one person who brought that intermission back was Tarantino during screenings of The Hateful Eight. If you watched The Hateful Eight during its initial run, when he had it like in the 70 millimeter like format, like really pure cinescope film and all that stuff, he inserted an intermission in the movie. It was just like a good 10 minute, and that was like a nice little throwback to old Hollywood and all that. And he's the type of person that would do something like that because he's such like a lover of cinema, and especially the old timey cinema and all that. So really really fascinating, interesting to see that, especially if you've never experienced it before. But um I'm sure many of the Turner classics possibly have stuff like that.
Oh yeah. So apparently it was because of the actual reel, and then eventually theaters got it to where they had multiple projectors that were
Yeah.
ready to
Hmm.
go. But that the intermission concept stuck. Titanic, apparently, this might be what you're remembering. There wasn't a baked in intermission, but theaters would just
Theaters did
basically
do it.
stop in the middle. And so it was
Yep.
a theater by theater. So maybe you're at one of the theaters that did that.
Yeah.
The re-release doesn't have it. The actual movie doesn't have it in there.
Right.
So they would just hit pause essentially in the middle of it. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. No, it's funny. It's funny, and again, it's a nice callback to relive how it was back in the day. Now everything's digital, so they don't need to have any real changes or whatever the case is. It's
Right.
such an advanced thing that we live in now. But
But name the
yeah,
Oscar nominee that had an intermission last year that we both loved. It was actually said interval with 3 R's in the middle of it.
which
In the
which one was that?
3 R's
Oh,
in the middle of the word interval. There were three
oh
R's.
yeah, 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 yeah. You're right. You're right.
I'm not
Yeah,
giving you any more hints than that,
yeah.
buddy.
No, no. R
Yeah.
R R. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're right.
It's still a thing. Yeah, the tradition's alive.
Yeah. And again,
Um,
I think it's coming from people who just want to pay tribute to like classic Hollywood and all that.
yeah,
And plus RRR was really long. I mean, that was a really long movie. And you kind of needed
I've seen it in other
that.
Bollywood, Hollywood movies too, keeping
Yeah.
that tradition alive because that length
Yeah.
is kind of normal. And maybe I'm not sure theater either technology or if that's just part of it. But when it's
Mhm.
that long and it's also there's a whole thing with like a one act and then a second act, and it's kind of
Mhm.
baked into they
Right.
actually have like a different plot devices than we typically use here. Um, all that to say, I know we spent so much time on the Oscars. We did multiple episodes. We did the live
Yeah.
cast. I've got a couple thoughts. Is there anything? I know you've had a few days to reminisce, to sit on.
Yeah. So like just it's interesting to go back, and the one thing I went back and rewatched was Jimmy Kimmel's kind of like intro, his whole like spiel in
Hmm.
the beginning. And it was actually really worth it because you could really hear more or pay more attention to like the subtle jokes and jabs that he had, that carried on throughout the night. I think one of the things you and I we commented on quite a bit was how many times he took a stab at Will Smith without actually
A lot.
saying his name, but
Never said it
it
once. Yeah,
never said his name once, but made so many references to who he's referring to, and you really heard it a lot in his opening monologue. And then and then I rewatched like some of the snippets that you would see like throughout the night, and it was he was relentless. He did not
a
let
lot.
up on it, and it was quite a bit. So I went back to rewatch some of that stuff because it was really good. I totally missed that he took stabs at Tom Cruise and Cameron for not being there that night.
Yeah.
And he got pretty personal with it too, which I thought was like pretty damn
But
hilarious.
with Tom Cruise, it was just like such a silly dad joke. It was
Oh, I
Elron
know.
Hubba
Yeah,
Hubba.
I know. Yeah.
It's such an innocent wordplay thing, but he is hinting at something.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
kind of clever and kind of like the Will Smith stuff. He's not really getting dirty
No.
by doing the jokes. It's more of a concept joke,
Mm-hmm.
so that it's not the Chris Rock special yelling the
Right.
V word repeatedly
Right.
about Will Smith.
Yeah.
It's kind of the opposite. It's Jimmy Kimmel. It's very detached,
Mm-hmm.
conceptual jokes that are not the nicest. And even Babylon was kind of the meanest
Oh my
joke
God.
of, oh, you lost
Yeah.
100 million. Hey, is Babylon in the house? What? I was
Yeah.
just welcoming them.
Oh yeah. Exactly. It's
It's
like
just a
I'm just saying hi to
construct of a
them.
joke, but we know what he's doing, right?
Right. Yeah, and I think that's like the brilliance of Kimmel that I think a lot of people either knew already going into it, or maybe they weren't exposed to him enough to understand that. And also, I think at the end of the day, he is the perfect host for the older generation too. So he knows how to play the line for both sides. Because
Right.
I was talking to my mom, and she has no idea about movies these days. She doesn't keep up at all. If anything, she keeps up to what we talk about because she listens and watches what we talk about and all that. But when she decided to watch the Oscars, and she said she thought Kimmel was extremely hilarious and like he was a really good host because he does know how to cater to that crowd, and he does it really well. That's one of the reasons why his talk show is still very popular, because he knows how to like ride that line in between the new generation and the older generation, which is
Right.
really important, right? So yeah, so I did that. I rewatched some of the speeches, which were really cool, and it was just nice to kind of relive those moments. And then I just kind of looked at some of the things that we didn't have a chance to look at in real time. So, for example, like Guillermo del Toro's win, I didn't realize that after winning the Oscars, he's become the first filmmaker to win Oscars for Best Picture, Director, and
Ah,
Animated Feature all together.
okay. That's a cool
Yeah,
one.
which is
Okay,
very
that's a good
cool.
stat.
Yeah, and it was Netflix's first Oscar for animation, for feature animation. So I thought that was really cool in itself. I also, and I guess we should talk about it just a little bit. The whole controversy behind Angela Bassett's reaction to Jamie Lee Curtis winning. I don't know. I don't care who you are. If you were nominated for something and you were really hoping to win, you of course are going to be disappointed if you don't hear your name called. And I think Angela Bassett was just caught in that moment where I really felt that she really truly was hoping to win. And if she, when her name wasn't announced, of course you're going to have that moment of disappointment, right? The
It's
internet,
natural.
yeah, I think the internet was carrying it way too far, exposing it more for what it wasn't. But was it a surprise for a lot of people? Maybe it was a surprise for me. I mean, I really honestly didn't think Jamie Lee Curtis should have won. I'm still very happy for her, and I'm happy for her accomplishment. But I just think it's so silly how the internet loves to blow things up when it's just a natural reaction. I mean, if you and I were nominated for something and then your name was called, of course I'm gonna be like, oh man, But
I
at the
would
end of the
probably,
day,
yeah, make it a whole thing. Boo!
knowing you will make it a whole thing.
Hell
And
yeah.
talking about the little snippets that Blake has been sending me, and I'll talk about that in a minute after we talk about some stuff. But okay, here's a little sample of what I have to deal with outside of the show. Since Blake and I are friends, we always usually like to tease each other and joke around. And Blake is often very competitive. So when he wins something, he'll gloat about it for the next couple of weeks. This time being the fact that he beat me in the Oscars ballots for this year, and the fact that I did at one point say that I didn't think Everything Everywhere All at Once would have chances at the Oscars. But of course, he omitted the fact that I also said I hope I would be proven wrong and all that stuff. But to rub it in my face, he produced this little thing, and I'll share it with all of you. You think with all the time he spent on this, he would help out with some of the editing for the podcast, but that's neither here or there. Let's give him his due because I thought it was very creative. Check it out.
I do want to talk about awards with you. Like,
Sure.
do you think this, and not even just awards, do you think that this movie gets mainstream appeal? Do you think it becomes a surprise sleeper type indie movie hit at the end of the year award season stuff? I feel like I could easily see it have a spectacular run where it's winning original screenplay, editing categories, and getting some serious love, maybe even a deep best picture nomination.
For me, I think this is going to be this year's Pig. Like for me last year, Pig was one of those movies that, again, wasn't expecting it to be the type of movie it was. Ended up becoming really well done. I've, really felt moved and entertained by that movie. Nicolas Cage gave one of his most brilliant performances that he's done in a very long time.
Sure.
And we didn't hear anything about it come Oscar season. This movie, I think the argument that could be made here is that this is probably Michelle Yeoh's best performance that she's ever given in a very, very long time. And it's not even a full-on fledged action movie, which is all she's really known for. Again, she is displaying all of her talents in this movie, and she does a brilliant job at it. And the movie, once again, very much like Pig, you go into it thinking one thing, you leave with something completely different, and that's what speaks to the way the movie was really well made. But we are in April, and there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be coming out probably come October, and this is going to be long forgotten by then. So that was just some of the things that I kind of like looked back on, and it was interesting to read what was hitting the news cycle after the event, because of course there's a lot of things that we don't get to catch in real time. So what were some one other thing too. This was actually part of a conversation you and I had offline, where because of the change in tone of the Oscars, I really do feel like the producers had a lot of input on how the Oscars played out. Not result wise, but tone and feeling wise. The fact that no one had anything political to say, No one, yeah, they kept it pretty much within the art of film and creativity. That was like the running theme of the evening, right? The passion of the artistry and all that.
They focused on the
Um,
crafts, especially
yeah,
after cutting them last year and actually
yeah.
spending some time for sure. It was like moms and crafts were kind of the
Hmm.
whole the themes throughout the night.
No, absolutely.
Teachers.
And I do feel like maybe it's possible that the producers spoke to everyone in advance and kind of put that precedence out there. Like, this is the tone we want to set for the evening. Blah blah blah, this and that. And the sudden like quick changes of who was going to get presented their nominations made me feel a little bit that either they were very good at taking risks to accomplish the type of effect they wanted to, or they may have had previous insight on who the winners were going to be. Because they did one thing they didn't do this year that they used to do before was they did like a little segment announcing like, oh, Price Waterhouse Cooper, whatever the case is, and voting ballots, and they would kind of like explain or have like a little thing about the voting process and how that's all determined. They totally nixed that completely this year. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me being very speculative and all that, but it was just really interesting how the evening turned out the way it was with and that tone, that kind of tone that it was set, and maybe that's what contributed to the 12% bump in ratings, in viewership, but nothing really to be that proud of, given that it's still low compared to how it was like 5 6 years ago. So it's like they're really trying to play catch up when they were like here and they're like here moving on up. So I don't know. That's just me. What were some of the things that you wanted to talk about afterwards?
Um, yeah, the numbers going higher for 2 years in a row is actually kind of nice, especially after the off year pandemic times. I don't know how long, if it still stay. I don't expect it'll get better over time. This year, tried and true, steady hand. There were some jokes that didn't land and some cocaine bear moments and all that. It was nice. I rewatched most of the ceremony, not all of it, but the first two-thirds or so. And so that was nice, right? Getting some context. And then there's a few things that when you're watching in person, we were reacting on camera that you might miss or not understand the context for. So that was good. Binging content about it afterward, which is kind of the other thing I do, is not only
Mhm,
rewatching everything everywhere and but also just and rewatching the show itself, but tons of content about it. Um,
mhm.
so that's nice to for context. I don't think I want to rehash a whole lot of it. I'm very excited to move into 2023 movies, but
Yeah,
the main thing is it's still shocking to me that Everything Everywhere did so damn well.
sure.
There's a world where it just swept, and there's a world where it got basically blanked. And I was thinking maybe somewhere in the middle. Nope, it had a historic night. When you look
Hmm.
over the stats of those awards, it's never happened before. That many awards above the line and getting best picture, that was special for sure. So that I definitely don't want to just like, oh yeah, we knew it was going to happen. That's what the odds makers said. So it is like that to me is very special when it's a big favorite of ours from the time it was released and we were on the Everything Everywhere bandwagon. That's rare and special and one of the weirdest, if not the weirdest, Oscar movies ever. And that's a special. So I want to like still appreciate that and seeing it again afterward and the theater being full and getting emotional about it. I did something kind of crazy. I moved it into my top four Letterboxd movies, my top four all time. That's a tough list. I'm not sure. Like I might start playing with that list a little more now, but
Hmm.
watching it again and seeing it get just universal love. It's not just like, oh, that's a weird movie made for me and my nerd friends. It's like, no, that's truly a great film. So it was nice to see it get acclaim and watch all those folks give great speeches. We talked about another big theme of the night, amongst the other ones we were mentioning, is folks getting their roses uh,
Yeah.
later in their careers. And so, yeah, the
Hmm.
Daniels, who are the upstarts, kind of almost remind me of the energy of like Ben Affleck, Matt Damon back in the day, just being so excited to be there kind of energy. But then they won more awards than those two did. Other than that, it was all four actors were folks who were getting their due later in life. and hadn't been nominated before. Those were special speeches. And then I was like looking over other awards. I guess the All Quiet Gang is also some newbies. Some like I don't know how we're here. Thank you for inviting us. I think
Right.
they did really damn well. But another one that I was looking at was Sarah Polley for
Yeah.
Women Talking.
Hmm.
Someone else who's been in the industry a long time and went from being a child actor to making artful movies and a great script and getting awarded there after putting in their due in
Yeah.
Hollywood in a totally different, way than, oh, it's Anthony Hopkins again or Meryl Streep again. Some folks talk about the lack of star power there. There's so many names missing from the telecast. The George Clooney, Julia Roberts, Denzel Washingtons, De Niro, Pacino, Jack Nicholson. Like you go through all those the people who are normally just all throughout the telecast. It was a totally different night, and I wasn't mad about it.
No.
I think it's okay for those folks to say, you know what, it's not what it used to be. Someone else was talking about how folks aren't promoting movies as much as they used to because their movies aren't in theaters for as long. I'm not mad about moving on from some of the old traditions that the Oscars would have, or is the same dude every single year. So getting people who are finally getting new praise and having a redemption narrative in their movie, and then getting new folks in there, to me was exciting. And this is my last thing that I've kind of thought about that I wanted to say. When we were trying to make predictions and going, really, is everything everywhere really going to do that well? And we've been getting these secret ballots, and we're hearing about these older voters who didn't get everything everywhere all at once, and maybe it's not. It's too weird and too new. And there was this story specifically that I was laughing about after the Oscars. The person who said they tried to watch it 3 times and just it didn't make sense to them, and so they kept turning it off. If that is you, then leave the Academy right now. If the Best Picture winner is too weird and too mind blowing for you, we don't need your opinions to be validated with an official ballot for the Oscars. You can say it's too weird or it wasn't for me. I didn't get it. I don't think they were successful. This that. But if you literally couldn't follow the movie, which there was part of the speech from Daniel Kwan talking about how movies move in years and the internet moves, and did you say milliseconds or light years, something like
Yeah.
that?
Hmm.
And talking about how like it's that's a real thing, and there is a problem with our generations. I was listening to our Everything Everywhere episode, and we went into it then with in generation gaps. The internet age generation gap is huge, and I
Yeah.
understand that somebody who's going, there are too many different plot lines, and it didn't make sense. It was too weird. That's okay, but also if you've been proven that you know for what it's worth, that is a best picture stamp on a movie that if you couldn't follow, but everybody else was saying that's the best movie, then just move on. Go do something else. So that's it. It's kind of a rough. It's a little mean spirited.
Yeah.
I'm not saying go kill yourself. I'm saying go join a board of go be a volunteer at the Oscars Museum in LA. Spend your weekends
Be an
being
usher.
productive.
Just be an
Give back
usher.
to the community.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Be
exactly.
a seat filler, and all
Yeah.
that. um, I mean, I don't 100% agree with you in that point. I know where you're coming from for sure. I do, and I just think it also goes hand in hand with what you just said about the lack of star power and all that. There's a switch happening now in Hollywood, and it's a necessary switch because we are now ushering in a newer generation of actors, actresses. The star power doesn't drive home business anymore. Back in the day, I remember whenever a new movie came out and all they had to say was Tom Cruise. People would be
Hmm.
like, I'm going to watch that movie because Tom Cruise is in it. Or I'm going to watch that movie because Jack Nicholson is in it. I'm going to watch that movie because Scorsese directed it or Spielberg is directing it. You don't really get that anymore these days. I feel like
You
these
got social
days,
media. If you want access to
yeah,
celebrities, we got too much already. You don't
yeah,
need to go, oh, he only does one movie a year. It's my only time to see Jack. I
yeah,
remember when he got divorced 30 years ago, and it was a big story, and I got really involved, and I'm rooting for him, and whatever.
yeah.
Like, you got nonstop social media from Anthony fucking Hopkins is great on Instagram.
Oh, he's
You don't
hilarious.
need to go to the
Yeah,
movies to see how he's doing. He's doing great.
yeah.
That's a good point for sure.
Yeah.
It's that's not how the world works anymore. The old
No.
studio system is gone, and also is gone that same concept.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Recently, and I don't know if you saw this news snippet, someone took pictures of who's that guy? Gene Hackman, who has not been seen in the public spotlight for a long, long time. And they're like, "Oh my God, Gene Hackman's still alive, and he looks great. He's like 95 years old, and da 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 this and that." But the internet blew up for like a day because of that revelation and all that. That kind of star power, that was the star power of movies in the theaters 10, 15, 20 years ago. We don't have that anymore. And it's like quick fixes. It's more about stories. It's more about how does this make me feel? Does this like change my look on my outlook on life or whatever the case is? um so
There
because
is
of
no monoculture anymore.
no.
It's so specialized that
Yeah.
you don't have to go and watch the Oscar ceremony for almost 4 hours and go, "Oh, they showed Julia Roberts 3 times,
Right.
and
Right.
I liked her reaction that time, and they
Right.
made a joke and she rolled her eyes. I'm a big Julia Roberts fan. I'm going to put 3.5 hours." No, we're all multitasking. We've all got so many streams of
Hmm.
information. We're all jumping from thing to thing. I think another thing worth mentioning on that is the globalization of everything since the internet age,
Sure. Yeah.
on top of the specialization, but and you get a more international voting body. So Moonlight winning, Parasite winning, Everything
Hmm.
Everywhere All at Once winning. We're not going to mention there's some weird ones, some Green Books and all that, but that'll continue to happen. But what will also continue to happen is movies that have more influences will
Right.
do better, and we're seeing the first Indian production winning original song. That
Hmm.
should have been happening for a long time.
Yep.
But the movie's on Netflix and it gets a word of mouth campaign, and that's how a movie within the same year can go viral in America. Whereas before, it might not have come out for 1 or 2 years later.
Yeah.
I'm getting some noise in the background, so I'll throw it back to
It's all
you.
good. It's all good. Yeah. No. But and lastly, to the point about the 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 Academy voters who say stupid stuff like that, like oh, I tried watching it 3 times and I couldn't get through it. Da, 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 da. That's fine. Like movies do affect people differently in many different ways, and sometimes there are movies that some people just can't watch or whatever it is. But despite that happening, still the movie itself was recognized properly. Despite this, and I'm sure that is like a very small sample size of people in the academy who are still like that. Um, but that also shows you again the change and the switch in the culture, because if this was 10, 15 years ago, I do feel that Everything Everywhere would not have won best picture, and maybe not even as many awards as it did this season. But now,
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
no, but now, since the culture is changing, the tastes are changing, the ability to appreciate nuances and different storylines and complexities, and all the different types of things that are happening in cinema now. It's no longer the classic storylines. It's no longer the tributes to Hollywood. It's no longer the golden age of cinema and all that. And unfortunately, those who are still stuck in those periods, they will eventually find their themselves getting phased out. And I think we are slowly seeing that happening. It's we're not there yet, but I think eventually, come 5 years, 6 years, we could see a huge switch in different members of the academy, and just types of films that are being recognized. In alignment with what you said too about it also being a more global type of body and all that.
I mean, we saw it in the movie Babylon, with Brad Pitt figured out what to do once
Yeah.
the industry had moved on. So I'm not saying that they need to do that, but go usher somewhere. The last thing I'll say, and I thought this was interesting. It's my favorite stat from Oscars night is Everything Everywhere All at Once was the first movie with hot dog finger butt plug multiverse fight scenes to ever win. Sorry, sorry. It's the second one to ever win. No. That's right. Citizen Kane didn't win Best Picture, so it was the second movie to have all that. But Citizen Kane technically lost to How Green Was My Valley. So,
Mm,
but yeah, that was my favorite stat of the night.
nice. I think the biggest stat in the night for both of us is the fact that A24 was very well represented um, this
Yeah.
year. And it's amazing. And now, if you look at their library and you look at the accomplishments that they've been able to produce from all of these films under their belts, one of the things I wanted to talk to you really quick was, well, where does A24 go from here? They definitely have a formula that seems to be working very well for them, which is usually focus on story, not so much on star power or blockbuster or whatever the case, right? Focus more on story, focus more on creative, focus more on people with visions, and then people who are passionate about portraying these special characters, these or telling these special stories. Not focusing so much on budget or whatever, and it's been working out for them. So where does A24 go from here? Should
No.
A24 just continue doing what they're doing? They're celebrating 10 years, right? So it's been a decade of them being able to do all this stuff. Or do you think that they should maybe potentially, dabble a little bit in the higher end blockbuster type of movie just to see what they could possibly do? It's the same type of question of when you get a director that's so good in indie movies and doing like these indie films, and all of a sudden you throw them at a Marvel film or you throw them at a DC film, Star Wars. We've seen it with Chloe Zhao and stuff like that, but sometimes they don't really hit it out of the park like maybe they would have if it was a smaller budgeted film. Should A24 maybe just test the waters a little bit and see what they could accomplish on a grander scale? I mean, what do you think?
I don't think that they should. I think they should do exactly what they've been doing, which is stay weird. They recently bought a playhouse in New York City,
Hmm.
or like a theater. Um, they we were talking about this earlier off air. They bought the David Byrne Talking Head Stop Making Sense documentary. So like
Yep.
they're getting rights to other things that are also art houses. Literally the
Yeah.
play like houses, like the oldest off Broadway theater in New York City. Something they're not transforming it. They're just diversifying, but staying weird.
Right.
Sure, they can now have more money to throw at the next Everything Everywhere All at Once, but the Daniels have moved on to, I think it was Columbia Pictures with a 5-year deal.
Hmm.
They're doing TV through another distributor, but either way, they can throw money at the next weird action movie like Everything Everywhere. They can throw money at an animated movie like Marcel the Shell the way they did last year. They've been so successful. The stats from their first 10 years is 53 Oscar nominations. That's wild. They had the most
Amazing.
Best Picture nominations on Sunday night. Netflix was number two with nominations. But then if you look at wins between Everything Everywhere All at Once and Pinocchio and I'm sorry, Everything Everywhere All at Once and The Whale, that's 11 wins for A24.
Hmm.
All Quiet on the Western Front had four. Pinocchio had one, and Elephant Whisperers had one. It was a documentary short. So that gives six to Netflix in second place. Everybody else is splitting one here, one there. Maybe there's a studio that has two when you add them up. But all the
Yeah.
other ones, it's Avatars, Top Guns, Black Panther, RRR, all have one. Women Talking.
Hmm.
So those numbers are wild that they had that good of a night, and the last time a studio had all of those wins at the top never has happened before. It's absolutely unreal. Does
Yeah.
that mean that they should then go into the huge blockbuster dumb crap category? I don't think so. They should be able to support and should support movies like Everything Everywhere,
Yeah.
a bigger scoped indie movie. But I don't think that they should lose. Whatever they've been doing is working pretty damn well.
Yeah. I guess my only additional thought to all that is it would be nice if, and this is not necessarily them maybe throwing money into a production and all that, but allowing allowing themselves to promote the movies to a more global scale, to get more people to get to see their films. When Everything Everywhere came out, if you remember, it was a staggered release, right? It was like one of those things where it hit the major metropolitan cities early, just to test the waters out a little bit. Then, like week by week, it would slowly just kind of increase their theater count, and all that. But in order to do so, they had to prove to the theaters, look, we're getting traction here. Maybe you want to give us a shot. Maybe you want to give this film a shot, and all that. Um, so it would be nice if they didn't have to find themselves fighting to get their films in theaters as much as a Disney, or a Sony, or a Warner Brothers and all that, because we were talking about a shift in the industry. This right here already shows us that there's a shift in the industry when you have a smaller production house like A24, who's only been around for 10 years, sweeping the Oscars above a Disney, but above a Warner Brothers. Both two companies that just celebrated 100 years in Hollywood, and here's this like up and comer who's like, nah, he'll hold my drink, son. We got this, So maybe not so much of them venturing into like the blockbuster realm, but maybe increasing their marketing budget or their pull with the theater chains to say, hey, I think now it's time for you guys to give us more of a decent shot to show our films in your theaters, because I guarantee you, with the change in movie going audiences and people going to theaters, they want to see something new, something different. This could be the time now to help that change. That, or create their own streaming platform service, which I think they should do.
About to say, yeah, that'd be interesting.
Because I think that they'll do well.
Going to Criterion or wherever else over the years. I know they have a deal with, I think it's Showtime.
Yeah.
For the question about the theaters should do that for their own interest. They should see, oh, we made a lot of money off Everything Everywhere. Who made that again? Yeah, make sure to get their next one in theaters in case that works out again. That will happen anyway. That's just, and you get more credibility, you get more Oscar recognition when you've won before, etc. You don't want to water down the products so much that you lose your identity trying to appease the masses. So those things I think can happen on their own. The thing where do they want to emulate the Disneys and the Warner Brothers? No, the world's changed. Somebody was saying how nice it was, because normally when there's a studio that does really well, they get a press release. It was a podcaster who works at a magazine was saying they get a press release for every movie. Yep. It's like within the first day you get 10 press releases, and they're like, why? We are all on social media. Like, the world is not that place anymore. But you just got these juggernaut, bureaucratic, doing things the old way organizations. A24 should just keep doing exactly what they're doing, and then, like, at least so far, it seems whatever interests them and excites them, it's a pretty good bet to make. Whoever's doing their acquisition or their talent scouting, etc., pay that person as much as it takes to keep them on board.
Seriously, yeah.
It's like a good drafter and GM for basketball. Like, just whoever's the management making the current decisions, that's your main investment. Everything else will fall into place if you keep putting out this quality product.
No, for sure. But let us know. I'm pretty sure most of you, we're hoping you already are very familiar with A24, so you're pretty much in the same boat as us. But if you're someone who was not so familiar about A24, what they've done, and maybe now you're a little bit more aware, what do you think of this little production house that could, and doing all this stuff, and producing such great quality film and TV? They do TV too, and I think they're going to venture more into that. We might be hearing more stuff TV wise from them. And what were some of your favorite moments and takeaways from the Oscars? Let us know in the comments. Definitely would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on all that stuff. You want to talk about this Shazam movie? You want to, Shazam
No.
it up?
Oh, hell yeah. Sorry, Shazam, hell yeah. Let's get into it, baby.
Yeah.
I, in my movie week from hell, made sure to watch Black Adam before watching Shazam: The Fury of the Gods. I'm glad they didn't put Shazam 2 in there because, then you're like, wait, is this a sequel? I don't know. Maybe it's an original piece of content. So they
Right.
call it Shazam: Fury of the Gods. A lot of movies doing that lately.
Uh-huh.
Avatar: The Way of Water, Top Gun: Maverick. Love to see it. It's a clever trick.
Yeah.
I'm ready to talk about it. I need to
All
get it
right.
off my chest and then move on with my life. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this I in my opinion, this is like an easy thing to get off your chest because I'll be honest, and I'll start off by saying it was an okay movie. It was fun. It had entertaining moments, and then it just had moments that were just like, all right. This is not one of those movies that you need to really pay so much attention to because everything that happens in this movie really doesn't matter. Especially with the way the DC universe is now, with everything pretty much changing. So, I do want to say this because uh, as we were prepping for this show, Blake, he was already kind of trying. He let me know about some questions he's going to ask me and all that, and we're going to get into some spoiler talk in a little bit. But what Blake doesn't know is that the whole DC universe is changing. So James Gunn and Peter Safran are now heading up the DC universe side of things and heading up the creative side, the movie side, TV side, all all properties. And what they're doing is they're pretty much revamping the entire lineup. So they already made it pretty known that Henry Cavill is not returning as Superman, that Wonder Woman is kind of in limbo at the moment. They're not sure what they're going to do with Aquaman once that new movie comes out. Um, this
The
new
Flash might be
Shazam,
in jail. We'll
the
see.
Flash may be in jail,
Maybe
but
multiple life sentences or even executed on national TV. We'll
we
see.
don't know. That's TBD.
Keep
Um,
watching TMZ for the
yeah,
TBDs.
yeah. But basically, it's almost like they're rebooting the entire franchise, the entire landscape of it all. Ben Affleck is not obviously going to be coming back after his little brief appearance in The Flash,
Wait,
but
wait.
but
What about Robert Pattinson?
so he so
Wait,
Robert Pattis.
What about
Hold
Christian
on,
Bale? Wait, what about
Christian.
Jared
No,
Leto
Christian.
or Heath Ledger or Barry Keoghan, who have all played Joker in recent years? It's almost like they're all over the place. It's
Oh
almost
yeah,
like they went
well,
into this thing without a
yeah,
set plan and are figuring it
exactly,
out as they go. And now they have a
exactly,
set plan. Don't worry, folks.
yeah,
Moving
exactly.
forward, it's all going to start making sense.
Yeah. So like with the Pattinson Batman and all that, they already mentioned that Batman will exist, but in an alternate like universe, in an alternate kind of like. So their main slate of the DC stuff that they're working on right now is going to be what they're considering to be the main universe. What happens outside is like the Batman, maybe Shazam, maybe what we're going to see happen in the Flash, possibly Aquaman. This is going to be outside of that main
Wait,
universe.
wait, okay, hold on. Sorry. There will be. Fuck. So I just wasted all
So,
my
so
time.
yeah. So
God damn it.
basically,
God damn
just
it.
to make it more
Fuck.
simple, there's the Batman, the Pattinson Batman, is not their Batman. It's not their main Batman. So there's going to be a newer
Sure.
main Batman. There's going to be a new Superman. Wonder Woman, like I said, they don't know yet what they're going to do. Well, Aquaman, they don't know yet what they're going to do. But everything else is pretty much getting reset and rebooted. So I'm glad you watched Black Adam because they have no plans for Black Adam in the near future. And it sounds to me like they may have maybe already cut ties with The Rock. So
The only superhero you didn't mention is Bun Man, Willem Dafoe's character in Aquaman, where he played Man Bun Bun Man. Sorry, Bun
Unman,
Man.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well,
one of my favorites. Will he
surprise,
be?
he's our new Aquaman. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah,
So this movie that just came out
yeah,
tomorrow,
uh huh,
this weekend, does it's not part of the James Gunn DC verse, DCU. Is that correct?
No, no, because it happened before they took over.
Fuck
So
off.
yeah,
What are we doing
so
here, man?
exactly, exactly. That's why. Yeah, that's why sitting through this movie, all I could think of was, wow, they had plans for this guy. Wow, they had ideas that I'm sure they wanted to carry through with this guy. We're probably not ever going to be able to see any of that stuff moving forward. And where does he fit now? It's like a throwaway. It's almost like a throwaway type of movie, in my opinion. Um, but I still found it somewhat entertaining.
Yeah, same. It was
Yeah.
fun. It was fun. It was like I've had so much movie in my brain
Right.
that I was. I'll
You
get to
need a
my thoughts and
cleanser.
opinions in some moments, but yeah, this one I was like, okay, what's one more? What's two more?
Right.
What's
Yeah.
two more just fucking fillers?
Yeah.
After Saturday, 4 theater experiences in a row, uh, and then the Oscars, and then Everything Everywhere, and then Lawrence of Arabia. I was like, fuck it, two random 2 hour and 10 minute clunker action comedies that I thought they mattered. I really thought you're gonna be like, well, there's gonna be Shazam 3 and this ties into that. I was gonna have a lot of questions. How many more times do I get to see Helen Mirren? And if the answer is zero, fuck everyone.
Yeah.
God damn it. Thought when this ended, I was like, okay, cool. So there'll be you even heard me talking about it before.
I know. And I let it go
I'm
because I wanted this natural reaction to happen right as we were recording.
I now wish I had done my troll plan, which was going to be going into this as if I loved it. I was like, dude, I'm so excited talking about this movie. Dude, I got so, and then you would have watched my face fall. Wait,
No,
what? They're killing
this
my
still
favorite
worked
guy.
though. This still worked though. This was still very good.
Here's my theory. If
Yeah.
this makes money, they might keep making them. I know that's going to sound crazy for a studio that doesn't like money and has been throwing it away for tax write-off reasons on
Right.
Batgirl. But if
A
it makes
Batgirl.
money, they might make
Batgirl.
another one. I don't know. This might sure. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. It doesn't even exist, Renee. It's never coming
Right.
out.
True.
It
True.
was a paperwork, a
True.
piece of paper that
Yeah.
they made a movie out of and then scrapped for financial gain.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you don't plan ahead on your
Yep.
film franchises.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Fuck off. I
Yeah.
remember years ago, you and I were deep MCUing. You saw me get caught up with the MCU.
Oh yeah.
Endgame was going to be coming out, Infinity
Oh
War,
yeah.
something. And you watched me watch all the ones I missed, not that many,
Mm-hmm.
five. So, and being like, okay, this all connects. They planned it out, phases. And every now and then you get an actor switch in, switch out. Sure.
Sure.
Somebody's going
Yeah.
to die eventually.
Yeah.
We don't have Eternium materials, whatever it was, Infinitium, whatever they used. It doesn't matter apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't
Because
have that yet.
the studio definitely wasn't taking that juice. Whoever was
No.
in charge of these projects,
No.
and we would talk about the DCU, how you
Mm-hmm.
got some great Dark Knight movies, and then you got a lot of weird stuff between the Henry Cavills and the Ben Afflecks, the Wonder Womans, the Aquamans. Like, oh, they're starting to figure it out. They had Wonder Woman and Aquaman 2 hits in a row.
Yeah.
And then it was like a good Suicide Squad and a bad Suicide Squad and some flops. But repeatedly for years we've been having this conversation. What's DCU doing?
Yep.
What's DC doing? What's Warner
Mm-hmm.
doing over there?
Oh yeah.
What's the plan? And it usually doesn't go well when you don't have a plan. And here we are.
Yeah. I mean, if
Just give
anything,
me a
this.
second to grieve
Yeah,
the
that's
fact that
fine.
I've wasted so many hours on this shit.
This
At the
is
end
a
of the
good.
first movie, fuck.
This is a
At the end of
good
the first movie,
case.
Superman shows
Case.
up like a promise, like, yeah, this will matter later. The end of Black Adam, Superman shows up
Yeah.
again. Yeah, this matters. This is part of the universe that we're all invested in and we all care about, audience. At the end of this movie, Wonder Woman showed up and it was like
Oh,
a
we're okay.
promise. Like,
We're in
we didn't get you
spoilers
last
now.
time. We didn't get
Okay.
you time before that. I owe you. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Well, there you go. All
It
right.
doesn't
You
matter,
see,
Renee. What are we
you could see how like hyped up like Blake is right now. But yeah, apparently we're in spoiler territory now. So there you go.
I'm sorry. You have to edit that out.
No, go
None of
on.
it
Go
matters,
ahead.
Renee. How can you spoil something that's already dead?
Go ahead. Keep going.
At the end of this one, Wonder Woman shows up. I promise this isn't a waste of time. It all connects to this universe we've been building. And now you're telling me even she is TBD.
Yeah.
I can't, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. That and then and again, that's why like seriously, like I was sitting through this movie and I'm just looking at what they're trying to accomplish with the character, what they're trying to accomplish with the family, all the post-credit scenes that we'll talk about in a minute. And really in my mind, I was like, wow, they had plans for this guy. And we may not see any of this stuff at all. Like at all. Now, yeah, of course, if the movie does gangbusters at the box office, then money talks. Minds
Do
will
you think that's gonna
change.
happen? What was your
No,
theater experience like? Maybe we should do that here because I that'll help predict what's going on with the
I,
box
I,
office.
I mean, it was. Oh, let's see. So I saw it. It was a 4 p.m. showing. It is Thursday, so it's afternoon.
Shouldn't it be full?
Not full at all. It was like a very average crowd, like a typical crowd on a Thursday at 4 p.m. Um,
Like just
it was
normal, not too much excitement, but not too little.
right, right,
Half
and
a third full, quarter
it
full.
was, I would say, not even. It was like, if I were to count how many people were there, 10 people, including me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was like three kids or younger people. You know, at one point the two kids were running around the theater because they got restless and all that. Um, but, but
Don't
it
worry, the
sounded
movie
like
didn't matter, Renee. It's
it,
okay.
no, at that point, yeah, it's fine. But it sounded like they still enjoyed it. They were clapping at the end of the movie and all that. But that could have been a clap for Wonder Woman because they saw Wonder Woman show up and they're like, "Yay, Wonder Woman! Yay!" I didn't hear
I
any.
clapped at the end of the movie because it was finally over.
Well, okay, well, that's.
I was like,
I'm not
oh,
surprised.
good.
Yeah.
They're doing the credits now. I'm excited.
Right. Right. I mean, they're projecting to do 30 million domestically, maybe that's a big maybe. The only thing I will say is
Good.
that Peter Safran, the other guy who's also with James Gunn, he is producer on this film, so it might be something that's dear to his heart because he's attached to it. But at the end of the day, I think if this thing doesn't do well in the box office, this may very well be the last time we have a chance to see Shazam, at least for a while, in the DCU.
If he's a producer on it, I'm assuming he watched it at some point, which makes me think it's probably not near to his heart. Or
Well,
else
maybe it is.
he would
Who
have he
knows?
would
I
have
don't know.
Batgirled he would have Batgirled the thing. He would have been like, no, you guys could just take this thing out of its misery.
I mean, the first
It
movie
wasn't
did
terrible.
really well. The first movie did really well in the box office. And to be honest with you, it surprised me because I wasn't expecting it to like it as much as I did. And I think they're just riding off of that wave of like, the first one surprised a lot of people. It did really well. The second one could possibly do the same, right? And regardless of like how I felt it was pretty dull in the middle and I felt a lot of moments were just dragging, the performances were actually pretty decent for the most part. I
Honestly,
mean,
yeah.
Helen Mirren was just fantastic. I
Lucy
don't
Liu,
care.
Rachel Zegler.
Lucy Liu, I kind of felt she was maybe in a different movie. But Helen Mirren, she gave it her all. I mean, she was completely 100% in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, Rachel Zegler. It
bless
was
her.
nice to see her in this role,
Mm-hmm.
or in a different role outside of West Side Story. I want to see her do more stuff now because now I could see like, oh no, she can act. I want to see her do more.
Yeah,
And then everyone else, they did what they had to do, and I thought they did a very good job. It's just unfortunate that most of the story was just, it wasn't terrible, but it didn't feel like it meant anything to me. Especially now knowing everything that's happening, the more so. So
so Zachary Levy,
Levi,
Levi, thank you. Solid
yeah,
comic timing.
yeah.
Jack Dylan Grazer, who plays
Oh,
Rachel
great,
Zegler's love interest person. I
love
loved
him.
him in the Luca Guadagnino "We Are Who We Are"
Hmm.
HBO show. Megan Good, we're not going to talk about after what you said about her after Day Shift on Netflix. So we're going to keep moving on. But I thought she did great. Love her. Lucy Liu. I don't know if Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren were ever in the same room when they were filming this movie. I think you're onto something.
Right?
It's possible it was just a green screen castmate while they're writing a green screen dragon in a green screen city, doing a
Yeah.
lot of air flying floaty
And
stuff.
I love Lucy Liu. Lucy Liu is like one of my all-time favorites. Like if I always refer to her as my wife in another universe, because if there was ever a moment, that's it. I'm done. It's just this wasn't her movie. This wasn't a movie that spoke well for her.
Then maybe you hold her to a higher standard than I do, because I feel
Maybe.
like I've seen her in plenty of stuff, and I just go like, oh, she was good. She did her thing. She did
Yeah.
solid acting, staring someone in the eyes and yelling at them. Jimon Hunsu. Oh, overall, I almost did the spoiler again. um,
we're
overall,
we're we're in spoiler territory, so it doesn't matter.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't matter anyway. None of
Yeah.
this really matters. I'm just having a little crisis right now. Sorry. Trying to
I'm
talk about
I'm
something that has been shot. Trying to be like, oh, I'm excited to get coffee with my friend whose funeral was last week. That's what I'm trying to get into right now.
wow, okay.
Maybe there will be a Shazam 3. Maybe none of it matters. Maybe I'll never see this person again. But yeah, maybe I'm excited to get coffee with them.
Yeah.
So overall, performances were fine.
Mhm.
Here's where all, because I'm on a roll right now. I guess I'm just like baffled. Black Adam kind of didn't fully pay attention to it, and I didn't miss anything. I kept checking in, be
No.
like, "Yep, still the same movie," and I get it.
Yeah.
We're still flying in the air, blowing things up.
Yep.
This movie, I really had to go to the bathroom near the end, and I knew I checked there were going to be two stingers, a post-credit scene and a stinger at the end. So I was like, "Well,
Yeah.
that's going to be a while." Just kept checking my watch, being like, "Is this thing over?" There was a minute. My my mom sent me an article about Oscars history in the middle of the movie, and I I'm not proud of this. I was in the back, had my jacket up just so the light's not going everywhere. Just fully read an article, kept checking in, being like, "Yep, nothing's. I'm not missing anything." At some point, I got really in the article. I looked up and go, "Oh shit, what I miss?" Ah, okay, yeah, nothing, and I was fine. So I felt pretty good about this bet. It's the final fight scene,
Mhm.
which is the thing you're waiting for in these movies.
Sure.
He's floating in the air. Lucy Liu's floating in the air. There's a lot of lightning happening, and there's a dome. That set piece, and I'm waiting for it. They're building it up and building it up, and the unicorns have happened, and the Skittles paid promotion has happened, and the dome gets smaller. And they've laid out the plan. I go, okay, I know how this movie's going to end. They're definitely going to do that plan, and there'll be a couple dumb jokes in there, and there'll be a big explosion. We're gonna think he's dead, and he's probably gonna be alive. So I just kept checking my. Okay, it's still going. I really need to use the bathroom now. I have to see those credit scenes just out of obligation. I'm not gonna be able to do both. This is like right before he's doing his like, I'm about to give you all the wrath. He's doing his puppet. And I just walked out. I was like, I know what's happening, and this doesn't fucking matter. And so it's like the most hype final battle moment of the entire movie, which is the part you normally don't want to leave. And I was like, fuck it. I walked out. I came back in, and his family is grieving his loss. And I go, yep, this is exactly what I thought happened. I'm sure there was a big blue ball on the screen for a moment. And we confirmed Lucy Liu probably died, and then he died. And then I watched him. I go, wait for it. And yep, just like Superman a couple movies ago, dude gets resurrected. How cool is that? Movie magic, baby.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot, glad I stayed around for all that stuff. But I literally, the moment that was the most anticipated built up to, I just
Mhm.
fucking walked out and didn't miss a damn thing. What does that
Yeah.
say, dude? That's so sad.
I mean, it just tells me that you haven't changed. Like, these movies are never really meant for you, and especially when I saw this movie particularly, I had a feeling like, "Oh, man,
Yeah.
Blake is not gonna like this movie one bit."
Yeah, I got an MCU. I like blockbuster stuff. I liked Top Gun Maverick. I like Avatars. I
Yeah.
enjoy those. This one was just a lot of air flying, floaty, like I'll use my power,
Sure.
use your power. There's no
Yeah.
and I know how it's going to end, and then I know how it's going to close up at the end. But there, on top of that, there's a lot of ancient gods and
Mhm.
witches, and that's where I also am like, this is so not real.
Yeah.
And even some of those movies can be successful if you at least give me something where watching for something. The humor can be
Something
great, the writing, the
yeah.
character development, their stakes in it, like something might actually happen. But
Yeah.
once we were just so far in make believe costume cosplay La La Land,
Yeah.
and I knew none of this. And then now learning that none of it is even connected to things. It's connected to things that will never exist at best, and it might not continue to exist. That's wild. That's
Yeah.
it.
No,
It all.
you
It's all of a
you
whole.
you definitely like it when there's something tangible, something you could like relate to, or a touch of realism, something that's a little bit more grounded. And Shazam was never that. You know, Shazam was always very fantastical. If
I liked the
anything,
first one. I enjoyed it.
yeah.
I at least had a good time.
And I
This
think
one
the
was. I
reason,
laughed multiple times. I was like, oh, and the theater, my theater about a third full, quarter full, late
yeah, I
showing
think I think the reason why you
time.
and many other people love the first one is because they really leaned in very heavily on the whole family thing, on the whole belonging and all that. Here,
Yeah.
they kind of got away from that a little bit because now everyone's growing up. You know, the message there was family will be there, but not always around. You know, so you have to do you kind of thing like that and learn to do that. You know, a lot of the maturation of characters and all. So I felt like that was missing. So that those things that you fell in love with in the first one, you know, necessarily will see so much here in this one. And this one was really more of the fantastical stuff, more of like the, you know, every time you have a movie where everyone's a superhero, then it's like, all right, you know, then what's the deal? What's the real stakes here, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, like you, I felt the same. Like there was some stuff that I laughed at, you know, and I laughed out loud with because you know it was funny. But then there were just a lot of moments in between that were just like, oh, this is dragging. Oh, that's dragging. Or they're trying to be very cutesy here, and you know, if you were an 8-year old, you're probably laughing your ass off. Like for me, I'm just like, oh no, you know, you're spending too much time doing this. Let's keep it moving, and all that. So, I'm not surprised you felt that way. Yeah, I was kind of expecting it to be honest.
For a 2 hour and 10 minute Skittles commercial, honestly, it wasn't that bad. For the first
best
movie that
line,
was
best line in the movie when she was on the unicorn and she's like, "Taste the rainbow, mother," and then they just cut it like I like it was like that had me laughing so hard.
great timing on that. The theater's biggest laugh was the first Taste the Rainbow, and I was like, "You all are laughing because you've heard that before in a Skittles
Sure.
commercial, and this is a
Yep.
reference to a
Mhm.
thing everyone knows."
Yep.
That sucks. But for the first movie directed, and written by AI, it was actually really good.
Brought to you by Chat
No, wait,
GPT.
it was the magic it was the magic pin that just dictates. That was how they created this movie.
That was AI. That was their take on
Yeah,
AI. That was like, wow,
yeah,
they called it. They knew that this was going to happen. So it if anything, this movie kind of foreseen the future.
exactly. Hear me out. Uh, that was so yeah, those things about it, and there were definitely some jokes in there. You're right, the family thing, and to the point where literally he's making a joke about a movie franchise that the star of Black Adam is known for,
Yeah.
where he's saying, "Oh, just like Fast and Furious, it's all about family." And that's just a thing, and it's not
Mhm.
actually earned.
Right.
He's had a tough childhood, and his family is so important, and why. And we spend time with the kids as kids, and we spend time with the adults as adults, but a lot of it's just kind of baked into the plot. We
Mhm.
understand, oh, she's the cute girl, and she's optimistic, she does this thing. And they didn't have to do as much character development or that family. Just the foundations of it, the human foundations of it, weren't really earned this time.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I can see you're really struggling there to think of another point.
I'm literally going through my notes, and like I have a couple questions on why like not why it exists, on like things that are happening in it.
Mhm.
But I just don't. I'm currently out of energy for this whole the DCU of it all. And after 5+ years of us asking like, what's the plan? How's this going to work? And then just being proven right of my cynicism
Yeah.
from years ago, it takes the wind out of your sails at that point.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, while you debate on whether or not you want to ask me those questions and get
I'll
clarity,
do it
yeah.
if you want to humor
Uh,
me, but go ahead, go for it.
let's just quickly talk about the post-credit scenes and what could have been. Because I think it's good to
God,
speculate on what
it's
could
so
have been.
depressing.
Yeah. The first post-credit scene we get, we basically we get reintroduced to Harcourt and the big guy from Peacemaker. So these were two characters that we were introduced to in Suicide Squad, James Gunn's Suicide Squad, and then we got to learn more about in the
Renee,
Peacemaker HBO show. Yes.
Renee, I love you. I'm so sorry. I am so fucking done with this DC shit. This is gonna be the moment where I go off camera for a second. I have to
Yeah,
use the
that's fine.
bathroom. Just like the
Yeah,
movie, you're getting into it, you're getting revved up, and
that's
I
fine.
just can't wait. So I'll be right back. I'll leave you in my ear. I'm
That's
sorry,
that's
guys.
perfectly fine.
Fucking
No, you don't have to
can't
apologize
with
at
this
all.
French.
That's okay. Um, but basically, yeah. So we see them walking and they're meeting up with Shazam, right? Billy Batson. They know him by name and all that. And basically, they're there because they want to recruit him to the Justice Society. Now, what was very fascinating and interesting about that is because we were introduced to the Justice Society in Black Adam. And if you remember, that consists of Hawkman, the big Adam guy, I forget what his name was, Whirlwind or whatever her name was, and Dr. Fate, who passed away. But I am pretty sure they were planning to probably have another Dr. Fate. So that would have been kind of like the entry to have Shazam join that team, that the team could potentially eventually come toe to toe with Black Adam, right? Because in the comics, in the lore, obviously Black Adam and Shazam, they are enemies and they go fight each other eventually multiple times and all that stuff. So when that happened, again, I couldn't help but sit there and laugh because I'm like, wow, they had this all planned out. The fact that they had these, reoccurring characters come in and film this little scene. And who knows, maybe he could have, shown up in another DC property like Suicide Squad or maybe Peacemaker or whatever. Shazam would have eventually probably been like the She-Hulk if there was like a Marvel equivalent, maybe someone who just shows up in other properties as, hey, I'm this guy and I'm fanboying and all that kind of stuff like that. So that was that. And then after all the credits play out, and at the very end, we get another post-credit scene where we are reintroduced to Mark Strong's villain from the first Shazam movie. And he's in prison and he meets up with the little worm thingy that can talk. This is something that I myself have to go back and watch the first one in order to remember who that character is. But basically, it's like the worm guy trying to recruit Mark Strong and, promise him that he's going to get him out of jail and they're going to do whatever they're going to do and whatever. So, keeping the hopes alive that there could have been another sequel in the works or planned out with a potential Shazam 3. Now, like I said, and broke the news earlier and kind of ruined all of Blake's hopes and dreams in the whole matter. We're probably not going to end up seeing any of this stuff, So it was one of those like moments in time where all you could do is sit there and watch and just think of what if, right? Now, if DC was to do a what if series like Marvel has done, then maybe we could still see this. But they're not known for that kind of stuff. But it was just very interesting to see that play out and kind of just in my mind be like, well, what if? What could have been? What was the potential here? Where could we have seen Shazam show up or team up with or fight and all that stuff? So that's that. Blake is back. So I mean, did you have any other comment about the post credit
Oh
scenes,
yeah,
or you know?
yeah. How poetic is it that the caterpillar?
Hmm.
I think it's a caterpillar.
Yeah.
One, it never became a butterfly, just like this franchise.
Right.
Two, how poetic is it that the caterpillar walks up and Mark Strong is like, "I've been here for 2 years. Did you forget about me?" And it's like, "I take a long time to slither from one place to another." And really, it's just another metaphor for the fucking DC universe. They're like, "I've been wandering around and wasting your time. I'm so sorry."
You should be happy we
That didn't
remembered
make me
you.
feel better. Seriously.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is at this point. Oh, I think you muted yourself. Oh, well, Blake figures out maybe his AirPods ran out of battery. He's gonna figure that out. But yeah, I mean, look, it's a little unfortunate. I know Shazam after the first movie became a very popular character with a lot of people. I have friends who love the character and obviously wanted to see more. I'm sure a lot of DC fans were hoping to see more, hoping to see that eventual showdown between him and Black Adam, and maybe that potential team up with Superman, right? Because he is such a huge Superman fanboy. Maybe another run in with Wonder Woman. I thought that was really cute, the little Gal Gadot moment that they had there. And the fact that they got Gal Gadot to come in to set maybe for a day and film her scenes and do what she needs to do. I thought that was pretty cute. It was nice to see her again. If this is the last time we see her as Wonder Woman, it was just nice to see that. And of course, I had all of this stuff running through my head. Blake, are you mic'd up? Are you good to go?
You said that Gal Gadot came to the set for a day. It was a green screen, dude. She's just got a green screen in her garage at home. She's
she
like,
she just did it
throw me a
herself, like, oh,
hundred
what I have
thou.
here, like I just
Yeah,
pulled
just
this thing
that.
down and
It may have been CGI, AI, Gal Gadot. It
yeah.
doesn't. Yeah. Okay, I have a question,
Okay.
but I don't know if I can even. Or I'm going to try to make it a more important. When I was watching the movie, I'm asking. They have a whole spiel about how magic defeats magic.
Okay.
Magic can kill magic, and that's like it's like a thing that happens. And I'm trying to pay attention to their magic logic because they get. It looks like they get to make it up as they go, but apparently there's a rule which is like your magic. Oh, you think your magic is invisible? We have magic too, and that can defeat your magic. Why couldn't the magic defeat the dome, the biodome, whatever? I didn't understand how the fuck Helen Mirren made a dome that they couldn't destroy
Mhm.
with the same material that they're using to build the dome. I guess I don't know. It's a spell, maybe. My real question, though, that I'm going to ask, you don't have to get into the dome of it all, but did you find this movie believable is probably not the right word, but did you find yourself like rolling your eyes at some of those things? As a comic book fan, you have more suspension of disbelief with these things. Were you into it, or were you kind of going like, ah, this is a little whack?
I found myself just going with the flow most of the
Okay,
time. I was just
good
like,
call.
oh, okay, that's interesting. Um, with magic, someone has a certain spell and you have to have a counter spell. So if you don't have the counter spell, there's no way you could defeat whatever that magic is. And as the movie shows, Shazam he's still learning. He's still learning a lot of stuff. So obviously he doesn't have the answers to it all. So I personally think that's how you could explain the whole dome thing. The only time that I did kind of like roll my eyes just a tad was when it seemed like it turned into Dungeons and Dragons at the end, when all of these
Mhm.
like mythical
Yeah.
creatures came out. You had your cyclopses and your banshees and like you said, the unicorns and all that. I'm just like, wow, we were really going full on like mystic creatures here, mythic creatures and all that. I
It
understand, like,
almost felt like Ultron era of
yeah,
MCU kind of thing,
yeah,
that fight scene, which
yeah.
reminds me, there's the joke where he's trying to figure out what the other names could have been in the stingers for Justice League, Justice Society. He's like, "Yeah, let me just use a thesaurus." And he goes, "What about
Yeah,
Avengers League?" And, it's it's sad now too because it's like a what
yeah,
could have been,
right.
essentially. Not a, "Oh, we're doing great," and they're now falling off. Now both apparently are. in rebuilding mode, as
Y-
they say in the
In
sports world.
in a way, one definitely more than the other for sure. But yeah, it just yeah that whole thing like and yeah, it's good that you said it that way too because I the feeling I got throughout most of this movie is that it did feel like an old school superhero movie. It didn't feel like one that fits this current generation. This is
Mm,
something like we've already seen, and I that's why it felt very familiar. And unfortunately, it also didn't feel new. So that could be another reason why I was just like, eh, like it because it's I feel like it's just we've seen this stuff already before, and it's not that exciting anymore. Um, and could it have been done differently? Maybe. Or maybe my feeling would have been different if I knew that this is going to be carried on to do more stuff. So,
right.
but at the end of the day, it was just, I kind of equated to that one comic book issue that is just a one off issue. That's like, we're here to tell you just a side story. If you want to read it, you can. If you don't, it won't affect the rest of the lore or whatever it is. So enjoy it for what it is. But yeah, what
Which
was sorry, go ahead.
I've been a punk about this movie, but honestly, I did. It helped that I was able to walk away, come back in,
Yeah.
sitting in an area where I could use my phone because the theater wasn't full enough. Like if I just was pretty burnt out by the end after Black Adam and this movie, long movie week. I really wanted a like, oh yeah, that was dumb, but I got into it and that was fun. Overall, there's good jokes. There's some decent action set pieces. They're not reinventing the wheel. It's cereal, breakfast cereal. It's just a regular routine you do before you do something else. It's sugary as hell,
Mm.
empty calories, but I wasn't properly pissed. There was a moment where I was like, do I walk out of the theater and go, no, I'm having a fine time. I've laughed enough. The special effects were fine. I think they were better than Black Adam, honestly, but,
I would
um,
agree there for sure. Yeah.
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 So overall, I've been a pisser in this episode. It's late and it's been a
You had
long
a week.
week,
You had a
and I
week.
didn't overall, there's things about this movie that properly made me just like, "What the fuck are we doing?"
Sure.
And then you told me then you really just took a sick dog and shot it.
Well, with all that said, what was your final letterbox rating? 2.
Too.
Okay. I'm not
Which
surprised by
I
that.
checked the old Shazam, which I remember enjoying 2.5 for that one, just because it's a
Oh,
phone it in.
okay.
That's for you, that's a decent score. For me, that's
Yeah.
bad. A phone it in, but nothing new and nothing interesting action movie usually gets
Mhm.
3.5 for me. That's my mark is 3.5 is like you didn't mess anything up, you were good, not great. That's a 3.5. This was 2.5 and 2, and I think Black Adam was 2 or 1.5, something like that. So not great for a three-part little side franchise.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's unfortunate for you. Well, because you had to watch or you put yourself through Black Adam and then immediately this movie.
Yeah.
Like it's yeah, if I knew that was gonna be your trajectory, I would have been like, you know what? Maybe you should hold off on the Black Adam for next week,
Don't
if you so
bother.
choose. um, for me, I gave it a 3.
Okay.
Because for me, it's middling, right? So it was like a middling type of movie for me. I think Shazam, the first one, I never rated it on Letterboxd, but if I believe I would have given it a 4 because that's how much I really liked it back then when it came out. But this one was definitely a step down from it all, from that. But didn't hate it, but at the same time, I don't think I will ever watch it again unless I wanted to refer to those post credit scenes if that led to something, right?
That's what I was
So.
gonna say. If you knew, because like I'm not as into this world as you are.
Mhm.
If you knew that this mattered and would play out later, you would have been paying much more attention because you're looking for,
Sure.
oh, that weapon might be referenced in the next
Sure.
movie. You're
Yeah.
you get deep into these lores. Okay, this side character number 6 is gonna really pay off in the next one. I heard they
Yeah.
cast him in it, but the fact that there's nothing to look forward to makes it just the nihilism of it all.
Yeah.
The fact you gave it 3, though, that's actually pretty good by
Yeah.
by my
Yeah.
count. If you were to go
Again,
one way or the other, because I know you don't do half scores, so is it more of a 3.5 or is it more of a 2.5? You don't
it's
have to
definitely
give it a half score.
it's definitely more of 2.5. It's
Okay,
definitely more 2.5. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So
But I don't
we're
like
not
half
too far
scores.
off.
No, no, not at
I
all.
know you
Yeah.
don't. And I also knew it wasn't a 3.5 Renee. I knew it wasn't even
No.
3.1. You're
Oh no.
rounding up on this guy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm giving him the old good old curve. You know, they're working on the curve right there. So, but yeah, that being said, what did you all think of Shazam? Hopefully you saw the movie because we really got into spoilers talk like right away. But that's fine. Again, I don't think we ruined the experience for any of you. At least we hope not. But if you saw the movie or if you didn't see the movie, regardless, we want to hear from you. What did you think about Shazam? Our talk about Shazam, or if you did see it, what did you think of Shazam as a whole? Let us know about all that stuff in the comments. But that is our episode of Movie Time for this week. Thank you again so much for joining us. Before we head on out, Blake, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Go to Letterboxd. Search members. Last name Wolf. That's my username. Last name Wolf.
There you go. And you could see it on the bottom of your screen there, and along with my username there on Letterboxd, you see it right there. But it's like anything else on socials. It's LOWKEY GEEK, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, or most importantly here on YouTube. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe buttons if you haven't done so yet. Follow us on podcast formats with through your podcast platform of choice. Just type in LOWKEY GEEK there where you could find this episode and many others. And don't forget to leave a great rating if it ever prompts you to. Also, if you're in a further position to want to help the channel grow, definitely check out our affiliates in the description of this episode. If you like the t-shirt I'm wearing, you could get one yourself. Just hit that link in the description, and there may be a code there to get yourself a little nice discount while you're at it. You help support this channel at no additional cost to you, and you get something awesome for yourself or for a loved one. So thank you so much. Again, this is it for us. I've been Renee. That's been Blake. This has been Movie Time. Stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. We will see you next week. All right, peace out, y'all.